The mysterious passing of Annabelle's handler, Dan Rivera. The mystery surrounding the Annabelle doll has fascinated people for decades, but a new chapter has been added to the legend with the sudden passing of Dan Rivera, the doll's longtime handler and lead paranormal investigator. Rivera, aged 54, passed away on the 13th of July, 2025, while touring the United States with the infamous Annabelle doll. His unexpected passing has stirred curiosity, sorrow and speculation, adding yet another layer to the already chilling lore associated with the doll. Dan Rivera was not just the caretaker of Annabelle, he was her protector, researcher, and interpreter for the public. A native of Connecticut and a dedicated member of the New England Society for Psychic Research, Rivera played a crucial role in maintaining the legacy of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the original investigators who had first acquired the doll. Unlike the porcelain version made famous by films in the Conjuring universe, the real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll kept under strict precautions due to her alleged spiritual associations. Rivera had been touring with the doll as part of the Devils on the Run tour, educating the public about its paranormal history and presence. During a weekend event hosted in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Rivera was staying at a local hotel while Annabelle was on display at the Haunted Orphanage, a location known for its own supernatural folklore. On the morning of the 13th of July, Rivera was found in his hotel room by staff. Pennsylvania State Police later confirmed that nothing suspicious had been observed at the scene, and the cause of his passing is still pending official determination. The event shocked many within the paranormal community and beyond. Rivera had become a well-known and respected figure for his level-headed approach to investigating the unexplained. His work was focused not just on spectacle, but on documentation, preservation, and public education. Fellow investigator Chris Gilleran expressed deep sorrow, sharing on the New England Society for Psychic Research social media page that Rivera had been more than a colleague. He had been a close friend and an irreplaceable presence within the team. He praised Rivera's dedication to the field and his sincere passion for helping others understand the world of the unexplained. The eerie timing of Rivera's passing, while actively touring with one of the most infamous haunted objects in the world, has not gone unnoticed. For some, the coincidence is purely that, a tragic event that occurred during a moment of professional travel. For others, it raises unsettling questions. The Annabelle doll has long been regarded as an object that should not be taken lightly. Stories of strange happenings, sudden misfortunes, and even unexplained events have followed her wherever she has gone. Although investigators always take strict precautions during public exhibitions, many believe that the energy attached to the doll is unpredictable and at times overwhelming. Despite the somber circumstances, the tour will continue. The Annabelle doll is scheduled to appear in Augusta, Maine on the 6th and 7th of September, followed by events in Rock Island, Illinois, and Lexington, Kentucky throughout October. Those working with the New England Society for Psychic Research have vowed to carry on Rivera's mission, educating the public while respecting the seriousness of the objects in their care. What makes this story so compelling is not only the mystery of Annabelle herself, but the deeply human element behind it. Dan Rivera was a real person with a passion for the unknown, a calm voice in a field often filled with fear and speculation. His sudden absence leaves both a personal and professional void, and many are left wondering whether the circumstances surrounding his final days were just an unfortunate coincidence or something more. The legacy of Dan Rivera will likely be remembered alongside that of Annabelle, intertwined in a story that blends historical lore, modern investigation, and the eternal question of what lies beyond the world we see. While the mystery of the doll continues to travel across the country, the memory of the man who cared for her will also journey on, etched into the strange, unfolding history of the paranormal. The story of the bulletproof president that was removed from history books. The story of George Washington's extraordinary survival during the French and Indian War remains one of the most remarkable and mysterious episodes of his early life. Long before he would become commander of the Continental Army or the first president of the United States, Washington was a young officer facing what would become one of the bloodiest military defeats in colonial history. The events of the 9th of July, 1755, during a disastrous encounter near Fort Duquesne, not only revealed Washington's courage and resilience, but also left many believing he was divinely protected, destined for a greater purpose. At just 23 years old, Washington was serving as a colonel in the Virginia militia during the French and Indian War, a conflict between Britain and France over territorial claims in North America. The war took place nearly 2 decades before the American Revolution, yet it set the stage for many of the tensions and relationships that would define the years ahead. In this particular campaign, the British sought to remove the French from the strategically vital Fort Duquesne, located in what is now Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. General Edward Braddock, leading a force of 2,300 British soldiers, had selected Washington and 100 Virginia militiamen to accompany him. Together, a smaller detachment of approximately 1,300 troops pushed northward through the Pennsylvania wilderness, intent on expelling the French and securing control of the Ohio Valley. However, only 7 miles from their destination, the British column marched straight into an ambush. Hidden among the trees and underbrush, French forces and their Native American allies launched a devastating attack from both sides of a wooded ravine. Trained in traditional European tactics, Braddock's troops responded by lining up shoulder to shoulder in the open, as they had been taught. But European-style warfare was of little use in the dense forest. The enemy, skilled in guerrilla tactics, fired from behind trees, rocks and logs with precision and speed. What followed was 2 hours of brutal chaos. During this time, George Washington rode tirelessly back and forth across the battlefield, delivering orders and attempting to organize a panicked and disoriented force. Officers were the primary targets, and of the 86 British and American officers on the field that day, 63 were taken down. Miraculously, Washington remained unharmed. He was the only officer left on horseback by the end of the battle. At least 2 horses were struck beneath him, and when he later removed his coat, he discovered 4 holes pierced clean through it, yet not a single scratch marked his skin. In the days following the battle, Washington led the remaining soldiers in a retreat to Fort Cumberland in western Maryland, arriving there on the 17th of July, 1755. The following day, he wrote a letter to his family recounting the astonishing events. He acknowledged what he believed to be divine intervention, stating that he had been protected beyond all human probability. For Washington, the events of that day were not merely a matter of chance. They were a sign of purpose and calling. 15 years later, in the year 1770, long after the war had ended and during a time of peace, Washington returned to the very woods where the ambush had taken place. Accompanied by his close friend Dr. James Craik, he reflected on the events that had shaped his early career. It was during this visit that an old Native American chief traveled a long distance to meet him. The chief claimed he had been a leader during the ambush 15 years prior and had given direct orders for his warriors to focus their attention on the officers. According to the chief, Washington had stood out on the battlefield, and he himself had taken aim at the young officer 17 times, each time without success. Recognizing that Washington seemed untouched by danger and believing that he was protected by a higher power, the Great Spirit, the chief eventually told his warriors to stop targeting him. Sitting across from Washington at a council fire, the chief said he had come to see the young warrior of that great battle, to pay homage to the one who, in his eyes, was favored by heaven and destined never to fall in battle. This strange and powerful story, passed down through generations, became more than just a tale of wartime courage. It came to symbolize the belief that George Washington's life was being guided by something greater. Whether one views it through the lens of faith, fate, or fortune, the events of that day in 1755 remain one of the most compelling mysteries of his life. The Phantom Submarine of World War II. During the intense years of the Second World War, many mysterious events unfolded across the globe, both on land and at sea. Among the most puzzling were the encounters reported by Allied naval forces with what became known as phantom submarines, strange underwater vessels that could not be linked to any known navy. These mysterious sightings, spanning several years of the conflict, stirred fear, confusion, and endless speculation. Were they secret enemy experiments, technological prototypes far ahead of their time, or perhaps something entirely unexplained? Throughout the war, Allied ships frequently operated in hostile waters, often engaged in battles with German U-boats and Japanese submarines. Yet not every submarine encountered matched known patterns or identification. On several occasions, warships reported engaging undersea craft that evaded sonar detection, vanished without a trace, or displayed speeds and maneuverability far beyond what contemporary submarines were believed capable of. Some crews spoke of torpedoes launched from unknown depths or sonar contacts that would appear and then suddenly vanish. What made these encounters so compelling was the consistent confusion that followed. After-action reports described submarines behaving in ways that defied normal technology. They moved silently, evaded advanced detection equipment, and in some cases were spotted where no enemy vessels should have been. These were not isolated incidents. Similar reports emerged from the Atlantic, the Pacific, and even the icy Arctic waters. Yet in every case, no confirmed identification was ever made. No known German, Japanese, or Italian submarine fleet claimed responsibility for these mysterious appearances. Speculation ran wild. Some military experts believed the sightings could be attributed to enemy prototypes. There were whispers of German U-boats undergoing secret modifications, long-range submarines, or high-speed models that were never officially documented. Others thought the Phantom submarines might be remnants of an early experimental branch of naval engineering, vessels created for stealth operations and kept hidden from mainstream military records. However, not everyone was convinced that these unexplained underwater encounters had earthly explanations. A small number of sailors and officers suggested that something else entirely might have been at play. The silence, the strange movement, the vanishing signatures, all pointed, they believed, to a force or presence beyond current understanding. Some even linked the reports to other unusual phenomena recorded during the war, such as unidentified flying objects seen by pilots over Europe and the Pacific. Though these Phantom submarines were never confirmed or recovered, they remain a part of Second World War lore. Their presence added a layer of uncertainty to already dangerous waters, and the fact that no clear explanation was ever found only deepened the mystery. The war was full of secrets, codes, spies, hidden weapons, but the Phantom submarine stands out because it was never fully explained, and it left no solid trace behind. To this day, the story of the Phantom submarine continues to spark debate. Whether the answer lies in forgotten enemy technology, secret Allied tests, or something beyond ordinary science, it serves as a powerful reminder that even in the age of modern warfare, there are still things that defy explanation. The mystery of the clown craze. In the late summer of the year 2016, a strange and unsettling phenomenon swept across multiple countries. Individuals dressed as sinister-looking clowns began appearing in unusual and often eerie locations, standing silently in forests, loitering near schools, or lurking on quiet roads at dusk. The first widely publicized sighting occurred in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where photographs of a shadowy clown carrying black balloons circulated rapidly online. This particular case was later revealed to be part of a marketing stunt for a local horror film. However, what began as a promotional effort quickly spiraled into a global phenomenon that no one could fully explain. Within weeks, clown sightings were reported in nearly every region of the United States. By the middle of October of that same year, reports had emerged from nearly every American state, 9 out of 13 Canadian provinces and territories, and 18 other nations around the world, including the United Kingdom and Australia. Individuals described seeing clowns peering into windows, standing still near playgrounds, and sometimes chasing or frightening bystanders. These sightings ignited widespread concern, especially among parents, educators, and local law enforcement. In some cases, schools were placed on temporary lockdowns, and police increased patrols in areas where clown activity had been reported. Though the events reached a fever pitch in 2016, the roots of the phenomenon stretch back to earlier years. Since as early as 2013, social media platforms have occasionally erupted with images and videos of people dressed as unsettling clowns in public areas. These earlier instances were rare and generally dismissed as pranks, but they laid the groundwork for what would later become a viral trend. Once the images from Green Bay captured public attention, the idea spread rapidly, fueled by internet culture, word of mouth, and mass media coverage. What puzzled many observers was how quickly the clown craze vanished. By the end of November of 2016, sightings dropped off as rapidly as they had begun. law enforcement cracked down on individuals involved. Some were issued citations or arrested for causing disturbances, and public interest seemed to shift elsewhere. Without warning, the red-nosed figures that had haunted neighborhoods and dominated headlines were gone. The sudden disappearance of the clown sightings remains a mystery in itself. Some theorists suggest that the phenomenon was driven almost entirely by viral momentum. Once the novelty wore off, the sightings ceased. Others believe the increased presence of law enforcement, along with legal consequences for those caught, discouraged further impersonations. A smaller group speculates that the phenomenon tapped into deeper psychological or cultural fears, a reflection of society's discomfort with things that appear joyful on the surface but hint at something darker beneath. Despite numerous explanations, no single reason fully accounts for both the spread and sudden vanishing of the creepy clown phenomenon. It remains a modern mystery, a peculiar event where costume, fear, social media, and group behavior collided in a way that briefly captivated the world, then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The mystery of the Catman of Greenock. In the quiet town of Greenock, Scotland, nestled along the River Clyde, an eerie figure has long captured the imagination of locals. Known simply as the Catman of Greenock, he has become a strange and enduring part of local folklore. Described by many as an elusive figure who roams the streets and alleys with feline-like behavior, the Catman is as much mystery as man. Though his true origins remain unknown, stories about him have been passed down through generations, blending fact with fiction and shadow with truth. For decades, residents have reported brief, often unsettling sightings of a man crawling through dark corners of the town, covered in grime, with eyes that reflect the night like a cat's. One of his most recognizable features is a distinctive scar across his face, adding to the mystery that already surrounds his presence. Some claim he has not aged in years, while others say he has disappeared and reappeared multiple times throughout recent decades, always seeming to vanish just as curiosity begins to rise again. According to local legend, the Catman was once a Russian sailor who came ashore in Greenock many years ago. The story goes that he found himself far from home, and after an unfortunate encounter with a group of unfriendly locals, his legs were badly injured, leaving him unable to walk upright. With no home and no support, he took to the alleys and abandoned spaces, surviving off what he could find. Some say he adapted to his surroundings by crawling, finding safety in the shadows, and feeding off scraps and small creatures, especially rats. Over time, his behavior, appearance, and survival instincts gave rise to the name Catman. While many believe this story to be little more than myth, photographs and personal accounts suggest otherwise. Several images have emerged over the years, showing a man with an unmistakable appearance, mud-covered, crouched, and seemingly living in the hidden places of the town. Witnesses claim he does not speak and prefers to retreat when spotted. Yet, despite his quiet nature, there are those in Greenock who say they have left food out for him, noting that it vanishes by morning. The mystery of the Catman deepened after a period during which he was not seen for several years. Some believed he had passed away or simply moved on, but to the surprise of many, sightings began again in recent years, with newer images surfacing, showing what appears to be the same man, older but still unmistakably the same figure, marked by that same haunting scar and familiar crouched stance. Despite the eerie nature of the legend, many people in Greenock feel a deep sense of sympathy for the Catman. While his story has been twisted into something almost mythical, with tales of animalistic behavior and survival in the shadows, the reality behind the mystery seems far more human and tragic. Those who have seen him up close describe not a creature of the night, but a vulnerable man shaped by hardship. Beneath the rumors and ghost stories is someone who, at some point, was left behind by society. Residents who have lived in the area for many years recall first hearing about the Catman as children. What began as playground whispers or spooky stories told at night slowly transformed into something more complex. As people grew older, they began to recognize that the man behind the legend may have been living with significant physical challenges, strain, or simply misfortune. Rather than a figure to fear, many locals now view him with quiet compassion. Over the years, some residents have left food or blankets in places where they believed the Catman might find them. Others have tried, without success, to reach out or offer help. Yet, the Catman has always chosen solitude, retreating into the safety of hidden places. This continued distance has only fueled the stories that surround him, and unfortunately, his quiet suffering has become the foundation of an urban myth that doesn't fully capture the truth. Many now reflect on how his life, already marked by hardship, has been further shaped by a legend that sometimes dehumanizes him. There is a growing sentiment among Greenock's people that the stories, while intriguing, may have overshadowed the individual behind them. It is easy to forget, when discussing the shadowy figure crawling through alleyways, that this is a real person, someone who likely faced loss, pain, and rejection long before becoming the subject of whispered tales. The mystery of the Black Angel. Tucked near the north side of Iowa City lies Oakland Cemetery, a peaceful resting place that has existed since the year 1843. While the grounds are filled with history, it's not the age of the land that draws constant visitors, but rather one towering figure within it. Rising above the gravestones stands a statue known far and wide as the Black Angel, a monument both admired and feared. Shrouded in mystery and superstition, this dark figure has become one of Iowa's most talked-about local legends. The statue was erected in the year 1913 and stands over 8.5 feet tall, or approximately 2.6 meters. Cast in bronze, the angel was once a gleaming symbol of remembrance. Over the years, however, the metal darkened, and with that change came a wave of stories and eerie speculation. Locals say the angel's color turned black overnight, which many believe was not the result of natural oxidation, but rather something more spiritual, or even cursed. Many in the area have long believed that the Black Angel brings misfortune to those who dare disrespect it. It is said that anyone who kisses the statue, touches it without permission, or visits with ill intentions may experience extraordinary bad luck. Whether these are simple warnings meant to protect the statue or genuine cautionary tales, the fear they inspire is very real to many. Some have claimed to suffer relationship trouble, physical mishaps, or financial loss after interacting with the statue. Though these events cannot be definitively linked to the Black Angel, the stories persist across generations. Visitors continue to flock to Oakland Cemetery to see the statue for themselves. For some, the angel is a stunning piece of artistry and history. For others, it represents something more mysterious, perhaps a warning or a guardian of the resting souls nearby. The figure's wings, bowed head, and downward gaze all contribute to an air of solemnity, as though the statue itself is silently mourning. Whether viewed as beautiful or unsettling, the presence of the Black Angel is undeniable. The most popular night to visit is, unsurprisingly, Halloween. On this night, brave individuals make their way to the cemetery in hopes of glimpsing the statue under the moonlight, sometimes daring each other to get too close. Despite its reputation, no confirmed incidents have ever been officially tied to the statue, yet stories continue to surface year after year. What keeps the legend alive may not be the statue itself, but the power of belief. The Black Angel of Oakland Cemetery stands as a symbol of mystery, not just because of its appearance, but because of the stories that surround it. Its silence holds secrets that may never be uncovered, making it a quiet but powerful figure in Iowa's folklore. Whether one believes the legends or simply respects the mystery, the Black Angel continues to watch over the cemetery, drawing curious hearts to its feet and daring them to wonder. In October 2017, a mysterious and massive disc-shaped object was observed close to the Sun by the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, a spacecraft operated by NASA and the European Space Agency. This discovery quickly caught the attention of UFO researchers and the general public alike, sparking debates about the nature of the object and its possible implications. Many questioned whether this was a naturally occurring astronomical phenomenon, a technological glitch, or something more extraordinary, perhaps even extraterrestrial. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, launched in 1995, has been instrumental in monitoring the Sun's activity, capturing images and data that help scientists understand solar phenomena such as sunspots, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections. The spacecraft's instruments have provided invaluable insights into the behavior of our closest star and its impact on the solar system. However, on October 27, 2017, the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory captured an image that was unlike any typical solar event. The image in question showed a large disc-shaped object seemingly hovering near the sun. The object appeared dark against the bright backdrop of the sun's corona, casting a stark contrast that made it difficult to ignore. Its shape was distinct and symmetrical, bearing an uncanny resemblance to the classic depiction of a flying saucer. What made the observation even more intriguing was the object's apparent size. Given its proximity to the sun, the disk would have to be enormous, possibly several times the size of Earth, to be visible at such a distance. The appearance of the disc-shaped object near the sun did not go unnoticed. Almost immediately after the images were released, they circulated widely across social media, UFO forums, and websites. Enthusiasts of extraterrestrial life and UFOs were quick to propose that the object was an alien spacecraft, possibly engaged in some kind of solar harvesting activity or monitoring Earth from a distance. The fact that the object was observed near the sun, a symbol of life-giving energy, added fuel to the speculation that extraterrestrial beings might be harnessing the sun's power. On the other hand, skeptics and scientists approached the image with caution. Whether the disc-shaped object was a digital artifact, an optical illusion, or something more mysterious, the incident raises important questions about our understanding of the universe and the limitations of our current technology. The excitement generated by such sightings underscores the deep human curiosity about the unknown, particularly the possibility of extraterrestrial life. It also highlights the importance of maintaining a critical and scientific approach to analyzing such phenomena, ensuring that we do not jump to conclusions without thorough investigation. This event also serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by scientists working in the field of solar observation. The sun is an incredibly dynamic and powerful star, emitting a vast array of electromagnetic radiation and particles that can interfere with even the most advanced instruments. As our technology continues to improve, so too will our ability to distinguish between real astronomical phenomena and mere artifacts of our observational tools. Many questioned whether this object was refueling at our sun. A civilization capable of manipulating the energy of a star would likely have technology far beyond our current understanding. They could potentially build megastructures, such as Dyson spheres or swarms, to capture solar energy on an unprecedented scale. The idea of UFOs utilizing the sun for energy suggests a scenario where extraterrestrial craft are not just visiting Earth, but are tapping into the immense energy reserves of our star. There are several theoretical methods through which an advanced civilization could harness solar energy, and by extension, how UFOs might be using the sun. A Dyson sphere is a hypothetical megastructure that completely surrounds a star, capturing most or all of its energy output. The energy could then be used for various purposes, including powering a civilization's technological infrastructure or interstellar travel. More realistically, a Dyson swarm, a collection of smaller independent structures orbiting the sun, could perform the same function. If UFOs were using the sun's energy, they might be components of a Dyson swarm, collecting solar energy and storing it for later use or transferring it directly to a mothership or other large-scale vessel. Another advanced method of solar energy extraction is stellar lifting, which involves removing material directly from a star's surface. This process could be achieved using powerful magnetic fields or high-energy lasers to strip away hydrogen and other elements. These materials could then be used as fuel for fusion reactors, providing a nearly limitless supply of energy. UFOs observed near the sun might be engaged in this type of activity, appearing to skim the solar surface or remain stationary near the sun's corona as they extract and store energy. The sun emits vast amounts of plasma, particularly during solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Advanced spacecraft could theoretically harness this plasma, using it as a direct energy source or converting it into other forms of usable energy. UFOs might be seen interacting with solar flares or coronal ejections, capturing and processing this highly energetic material. A more speculative method could involve the use of quantum entanglement to transfer energy from the sun to distant locations instantaneously. While still within the realm of theoretical physics, the idea suggests that advanced civilizations could manipulate quantum states to transfer energy without the need for physical structures like Dyson spheres. UFOs, equipped with quantum technologies, might be capable of siphoning energy from the sun through mechanisms that are currently beyond human understanding. If UFOs were indeed using the sun for energy, the implications would be profound, challenging our current understanding of both physics and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. If UFOs are actively using the sun, it suggests that Earth is being observed, or at least that our solar system is of interest to these civilizations. This raises questions about the intentions of such beings, whether they are benign, neutral, or potentially hostile, and what form, if any, contact might take. Observing extraterrestrial use of solar energy could inspire new technological innovations on Earth. If we could understand and replicate even a fraction of such advanced energy systems, it could revolutionize our approach to energy production and consumption, addressing global energy needs and reducing dependence on fossil fuels. In recent years, a growing body of evidence has emerged, suggesting that unidentified flying objects have been observed in close proximity to the sun. These sightings, captured by various solar observation satellites such as the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, have sparked intense debate within the scientific community and among UFO enthusiasts. While skeptics often dismiss these observations as mere artifacts of imaging technology, there is a compelling case to be made for the genuine presence of advanced extraterrestrial technology near our star. If we accept the premise that these UFOs are real, we must then consider their purpose. What could an advanced extraterrestrial civilization be doing so close to the sun? Several theories have been proposed, each with profound implications for our understanding of extraterrestrial life and their technological capabilities. One of the most compelling theories is that these UFOs are engaged in energy harvesting. Another plausible explanation is that these UFOs are conducting scientific research on the sun. The sun is a complex and dynamic entity, and understanding its behavior could be crucial for any civilization, especially one that relies on solar energy or lives in proximity to such a star. The UFOs might be equipped with advanced instruments designed to monitor solar activity, study the physics of stellar phenomena, or even predict solar storms that could affect planets in the solar system. If extraterrestrial civilizations are indeed observing the sun, it suggests that they possess a level of scientific curiosity and technological capability far beyond our own. Their presence near the sun could indicate a deep understanding of stellar dynamics, possibly even greater than that of human astrophysicists. In addition to energy harvesting, these UFOs might be engaged in resource extraction. The sun, composed primarily of hydrogen and helium, is a massive reservoir of materials that could be valuable for a technologically advanced civilization. Hydrogen, in particular, could be used as fuel for fusion reactors, providing a nearly limitless source of power. The UFOs might be using sophisticated methods to extract hydrogen or other elements from the sun's outer layers, storing them for later use. Resource extraction from a star would require technology far beyond anything humanity currently possesses. Such an operation would need to overcome extreme temperatures, radiation, and gravitational forces, indicating that the civilizations behind these UFOs have developed materials and energy shields that are far superior to our own. The possibility that UFOs are real and operating near the sun has profound implications for humanity. First and foremost, it challenges our understanding of the universe and our place within it. If extraterrestrial civilizations exist and are capable of such advanced technological feats, it suggests that we are not alone in the universe and that there are others far more advanced than we are. Additionally, the presence of these UFOs near the sun could inspire new scientific and technological advancements. Understanding how these objects operate and what they are doing could lead to breakthroughs in energy production, materials, science, and space travel. It could also drive a renewed interest in space exploration as humanity seeks to understand and possibly interact with these advanced civilizations. Finally, the realization that UFOs are real and operating within our solar system could have profound implications for global security and policy. Governments and international organizations would need to consider the possibility of extraterrestrial contact and the potential risks and opportunities it presents. Boriska, a child prodigy, was born in 1996 and is also known as Little Boris. According to his mother, who is a doctor, she recognized her son's exceptional nature when he was able to hold his head up without any assistance, a mere 2 weeks after his birth. According to her, he commenced speaking a few months after his birth and was capable of reading, drawing, and painting by the age of 18 months. When Boriska, at the young age of 2, attended kindergarten, his teachers were immediately impressed by his exceptional writing and language abilities and his impressive memory skills. This left a significant impression on his teachers, who could hardly believe the young child's remarkable abilities. The young boy has insisted on multiple occasions that he used to be a pilot from Mars and had traveled to Earth. Boriska's parents maintain that they didn't educate their son about space as a youngster, yet he would frequently converse about Mars, planetary structures, and extraterrestrial societies. According to reports, his infatuation with space became his primary interest, and soon after, he began proclaiming to have been born on the planet Mars. According to researchers, he was an introverted young man who exhibited intelligence above the norm. He asserts that there are still many unexplored mysteries on this planet, citing the Great Pyramid of Giza as an example of a structure that conceals valuable insights. Boriska claims that once the Sphinx is opened, using an unknown mechanism located behind its ear, human life will be transformed. The exact details of this mechanism are unclear to Boriska. Boriska elaborates that the incident on Mars was a result of a nuclear conflict among the inhabitants of the planet. According to him, a small number of people managed to survive and subsequently constructed shelters for protection while simultaneously developing new weaponry. According to the boy, Martians inhale carbon dioxide, and in case they visit Earth, they would require pipes filled with this gas to exhale. Boriska, despite experiencing a significant nuclear disaster in the distant past, Mars is said to harbor a community of extraterrestrial beings. He asserts that there are still many unexplored mysteries on this planet, citing the Great Pyramid of Giza as an example of a structure that conceals valuable insights. Boriska claims that once the Sphinx is opened, using an unknown mechanism located behind its ear, human life will be transformed. The exact details of this mechanism are unclear to Boriska. Oddly enough, many have pointed out that there is a mysterious hole that was mysteriously sealed up in the Sphinx's head. The Great Sphinx of Giza, commonly known as the Sphinx, is a grand limescale structure in the Golden Giza Desert of Egypt. The statue is of a reclining sphinx, a mythical creature that combines the head of a human with the body of a lion. The Sphinx is seen as a dangerous, merciless creature in Greek mythology. In Egyptian mythology, however, the Sphinx is a slightly less cruel creature. Unlike the Greek Sphinx, the Egyptian one is firstly male, and secondly is described as more benevolent than the Greek Sphinx. However, they are both thought to be extremely strong and guarded the entrance to temples in ancient times. Today, the Sphinx is a tourist attraction more than anything. Such an incredible architectural feat naturally draws a lot of attention, and historians and researchers have spent years delving into the history of the Sphinx. Naturally, this leaves various unanswered questions. The first modern archaeological dig of the Sphinx was undertaken in 1817, but it was some time before that it had been visited and captured in painting. Around 1798, French painter Vivant Denon painted a picture of the Sphinx, but when it was finished, critics noticed something a little strange. Denon had painted a man being pulled out of the head of the Sphinx. Two figures were helping a third out of the cavernous head of the statue, which had been painted side on. Now, you may wonder whether this was simply a matter of imagination. Perhaps Denon had wanted to add something a little different to the painting. But of course, nobody knew for sure, as it was the 18th century, and the beauty of both aviation and drone imagery had not quite been invented yet. However, in the 1920s, aerial photography had become possible, and lo and behold, what appeared on the Sphinx's head? A hole, big enough for a man to fit through. Naturally, this made Denon's painting all the more interesting. It appeared he'd actually seen people climbing out of the Sphinx, which begged the question, who was in the Sphinx, and what were they doing? Not a lot is known about the history of the Sphinx, or at least there isn't a lot of definitive knowledge, but researchers have noticed that the head of the Sphinx is made from different materials to the rest of the statue. The head appears to be made out of a man-made substance rather than limestone, hence the darkness of the stone of the head compared to the body. Furthermore, the Sphinx's head has hardly eroded and appears smoother than its body. This again points to the idea that the head was somehow interfered with, maybe long before any Western peoples even knew of its existence. But this still doesn't answer the question of why those men were in the head of the Sphinx. One thing that is known is that restoration work has been done on the Great Sphinx. Something to note, though, is that at the time, and as mentioned by Tour Egypt, systematic research on the water table, pollution, and on the properties of the stone and mortar were undertaken. They note, though, that for some unknown reason, these discoveries were not applied when the restoration work was being carried out. It's been theorized that the hole in the head of a sphinx actually led to an ancient underground chamber, which then joined up to more underground chambers beneath the Great Pyramids. This secret city, as it was dubbed by the mainstream media, was allegedly found in March of 1935. Newspapers even covered the topic, and it was speculated that this discovery would have gone down in history as being one of the greatest. However, not one Egyptologist or researcher commented on the findings. It was almost as if every researcher forgot about these initial discoveries. There was complete silence from those studying and working alongside these structures. Back in 1987, a Japanese research team from Tokyo's Waseda University began an extensive underground survey of the regions surrounding the Great Sphinx statue, utilizing groundbreaking technology at the time known as the electromagnetic sounding survey radar, in an attempt to better image the sunken regions of the Sphinx statue. Under the direction of head researcher Sakuji Yoshimura, the team got some of the most accurate 3D rendered images of the statue ever seen, with a strange revelation that no one had seen coming. For some unknown reason, the Japanese survey team discovered an extensive system of cavities and tunnels inside and underneath the Great Sphinx monolith that were believed to have been previously undiscovered. According to the team, south of the Sphinx was a hollow tunnel believed to have been 2.5 meters wide and 3 meters tall, connecting two chambers, a small and large chamber that appears to connect to additional tunnels that stretched north, south, and southeast of the Sphinx's direction. Portions of shafts were found in unconnected areas beneath the Sphinx, with additional cavities found inside the structure of the Sphinx and beside the body of the Sphinx, unconnected to the tunnels beneath the monolith. None of these findings have been pursued after the survey, with many denying the existence of the tunnels and shafts, despite the mountains of clear imaging evidence gathered under the direction of lead researchers. The frustrating thing about this is that there's no conclusion to the mysterious hole seen in the Sphinx's head. We know it was there as we have photographs and paintings, but as of right, only theories can be put forward for why it was sealed up. The ancient Egyptians have filled history with spectacular cultural offerings, from the pharaohs to the pyramids to the Great Sphinx itself. When we as a race discover something that old, it's only natural to begin to wonder whether there is a little more to these beautiful pieces of history than the accepted truths. Who knows what really lurks in the mysterious ancient catacombs beneath the Sphinx? Perhaps one day we might find out. Until that time, though, we can only put forward our theories as to why these chambers have been kept a secret from the public. In the annals of ancient history, few figures loom as large as Queen Nefertiti, the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten and one of ancient Egypt's most iconic and mysterious queens. Renowned for her beauty, power, and influence, Nefertiti's reign during the 14th century BCE marked a transformative period in Egyptian history, characterized by religious revolution, cultural upheaval, and artistic innovation. Yet, despite her prominence in the historical record, the mysterious disappearance of Queen Nefertiti remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. Nefertiti's rise to power began in the early years of her husband's reign, when Pharaoh Akhenaten ascended to the throne and embarked on a radical religious reform known as the Amarna period. Central to this reform was the worship of the sun disk Aten as the supreme deity and the establishment of a new capital city at Amarna dedicated to the cult of Aten. As Akhenaten's chief consort and co-regent, Nefertiti played a pivotal role in promoting the worship of Aten and disseminating the ideology of the Amarna revolution throughout Egypt. During her tenure as queen, Nefertiti wielded unprecedented influence and authority, serving as a powerful political and religious figure alongside her husband. Her iconic depiction in ancient Egyptian art, characterized by her elegant profile, elongated neck, and distinctive crown, attests to her status as a paragon of beauty and grace, revered by both her contemporaries and future generations. Yet, despite her prominence and influence, Nefertiti's fate remains shrouded in mystery, with conflicting theories and conjectures about her ultimate destiny. The most widely accepted theory posits that Nefertiti died during the reign of her husband and was subsequently buried in a royal tomb in the Valley of the Kings. However, no conclusive evidence of her burial has ever been found, leaving her final resting place a tantalizing mystery for archaeologists and historians. Another theory suggests that Nefertiti may have outlived her husband and ruled Egypt as a pharaoh in her own right under the name Nefer-Neferuaten. This theory is supported by evidence of a female ruler named Nefer-Neferuaten who succeeded Akhenaten and continued his religious reforms, albeit with a more moderate approach. However, the identity of Nefer-Neferuaten remains uncertain, and it is unclear whether she was indeed Nefertiti or another member of the royal family. Intriguingly, recent archaeological discoveries have reignited speculation about Nefertiti's fate, with tantalizing clues emerging from the sands of Egypt that suggest she may have been buried in a hidden chamber within the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. In 2015, a team of archaeologists led by British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves proposed the existence of a secret chamber behind the walls of Tutankhamun's tomb, which they believed could contain the long-lost burial of Queen Nefertiti. Although subsequent investigations failed to conclusively confirm the presence of a hidden chamber within Tutankhamun's tomb, the tantalizing possibility of uncovering Nefertiti's final resting place has captured the imagination of scholars and enthusiasts alike. If Nefertiti's tomb were to be discovered, it would not only shed light on her mysterious disappearance, but also provide invaluable insights into the religious and political landscape of ancient Egypt during the Amarna period. Yet, even as the search for Nefertiti's tomb continues, her legacy endures as a symbol of female power and influence in ancient Egypt. Whether as a beautiful queen, a formidable ruler, or a strange figure lost to the sands of time, Nefertiti remains an icon of antiquity whose mystique continues to fascinate and inspire generations of admirers. As of right now, the mysterious disappearance of Queen Nefertiti remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt, shrouded in speculation, intrigue, and conjecture. From her influential role in the Amarna period to her mysterious fate after the death of her husband, Nefertiti's legacy endures as a testament to the enduring allure of the ancient world and the mysteries that lie buried beneath its sands. As archaeologists continue to uncover new evidence and insights into the life and times of Queen Nefertiti, her story will continue to captivate and inspire generations to come. In a remarkable find within the depths of the Baltic Sea, researchers have unveiled a colossal underwater structure believed to have originated more than 10,000 years ago. This discovery is in close proximity to the well-known Baltic Sea anomaly, sparking significant interest and curiosity among the scientific community and the public alike. The uncovered structure, shrouded in mystery and antiquity, offers a glimpse into a bygone era of human history, inviting exploration and analysis to decipher its strange origins and purpose. In Europe, this immense structure, thought to be among the most ancient hunting devices created by humans, was built by Stone Age hunter-gatherers. The construction of this megastructure signifies a significant milestone in human history. Researchers have uncovered a prehistoric wall beneath the waves along Germany's Baltic coast, suggesting it could potentially be the earliest megastructure constructed by humans in Europe. This archaeological finding holds significant implications for understanding ancient civilizations in the region. In the Bay of Mecklenburg, researchers unexpectedly discovered a massive underwater wall measuring almost a kilometer in length. The revelation occurred as scientists were utilizing a multi-beam sonar system aboard a research vessel during a student excursion around 10 kilometers, or 6 miles off the coast. This serendipitous finding has unveiled a remarkable geological formation that had eluded prior exploration. Upon detailed examination of the arrangement known as the Blinker Wall, it became evident that approximately 1,400 smaller stones were strategically placed to link close to 300 significant boulders, some of which were deemed too massive to have been shifted by human groups. This intricate structure showcases a deliberate effort to interconnect these stones and boulders, suggesting a high level of planning and coordination in its creation. The recently uncovered sunken wall, hailed as a remarkable find, lies beneath a depth of 21 meters of water. Despite its submerged state, Researchers posit that this ancient structure was likely built by early hunter-gatherer communities over 10,000 years ago, possibly on the shores of a lake or near a marsh. The precise function of the wall remains elusive, yet researchers speculate that it functioned as a thoroughfare for hunters chasing after groups of reindeer. This structure, believed to be a driving lane, was likely utilized to maneuver and direct the movements of herds during hunting expeditions. In his statement at the Leibniz Institute for Baltic Sea Research in Warnemünde, a coastal town in Germany, Jacob Geerson mentioned that when animals are being pursued, they tend to adhere to certain structures and usually avoid attempting to leap over them. Geerson's observation sheds light on the behavior of animals when they are in flight mode, showcasing a tendency to follow established paths rather than engaging in risky behaviors. The concept involves the strategic implementation of an artificial bottleneck, using either a secondary barrier or the shoreline of the lake. This approach aims to control the flow or movement by restricting or diverting the path through engineered obstacles. In a report published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, researchers suggest the existence of another wall lying adjacent to the blinker wall that could potentially be submerged within the seafloor sediments. The wall could have potentially herded the animals towards the adjacent lake, hindering their speed and rendering them vulnerable targets for human predators strategically positioned in canoes equipped with spears or bows and arrows. This strategic bottleneck might have facilitated hunters in ambushing the animals as they tried to cross the water body, capitalizing on their reduced mobility due to the water obstacle. Geerson and his team have evaluated the 971-meter-long wall's dimensions and structure, leading them to doubt that natural occurrences were responsible for its formation. They dismiss the possibility of a massive tsunami relocating the stones or a glacier leaving them behind. This in-depth analysis suggests that the wall's characteristics and vast size are inconsistent with usual geological processes. The researchers question the likelihood of such extraordinary events shaping the wall, hinting at the presence of potentially unknown factors contributing to its creation. The orientation of the perimeter, typically below 1 meter in height, alters its course upon encountering the substantial rocks, indicating a deliberate arrangement of smaller stones to interconnect them. Overall, the stones comprising the structure are estimated to exceed a weight of 142 tons, underscoring the meticulous planning and effort invested in its construction. The strategic repositioning of the wall, along with the deliberate placement of smaller stones to facilitate cohesion with the larger boulders, unveils a sophisticated design that aims to merge elements seamlessly. The construction of the wall, assuming it served as an ancient hunting path, likely dates back to over 10,000 years ago, eventually being engulfed by the encroaching seawaters approximately 8,500 years back. In accordance with researchers, the blinker wall's positioning places it among the earliest instances of hunting architecture globally, potentially dubbing it as the most ancient human-crafted megastructure on the European continent. This discovery not only asserts its historical significance, but also indicates its potential relevance in the context of ancient human practices and societal structures. Geerson is currently enthusiastic about returning to the site with the intention of reconstructing the ancient landscape in a meticulous manner. He is eager to delve into the depths of the area to unearth not only animal bones, but also valuable human artifacts, like hunting projectiles, that could potentially be hidden within the sediments surrounding the wall. The Mystery of Crystal Rogers. Bardstown, Kentucky, nestled in the heart of the Bluegrass State, is a town known for its charm, tight-knit community, and deep roots in the bourbon industry. Yet, since the summer of 2015, the town has been haunted by the disappearance of one of its own, Crystal Rogers, a 35-year-old mother of 5 whose case remains one of the most heartbreaking and puzzling unsolved stories in Kentucky's recent history. Crystal Rogers was born and raised in Bardstown. She was known for being a warm, generous person, always ready to lend a hand to those in need. More than anything, Crystal was a devoted mother. Rarely seen without at least one of her children by her side, she embraced motherhood with her whole heart. Her family described her as deeply nurturing, a woman who prioritized her children above all else. At the time of her disappearance, Crystal was living with her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, who was also the father of her youngest child, a 2-year-old boy named Eli. Their relationship had its complications, but outwardly, they appeared to function as a family. On the evening of the 3rd of July, 2015, Crystal was last seen alive, reportedly spending time with Brooks and Eli. Brooks would later tell authorities that the three of them had visited his family's farm before returning home that night. What happened next remains unclear. By the morning of the 5th of July, Crystal's mother, Sherry Ballard, had grown increasingly worried. She had been trying to reach her daughter since the previous day, to no avail. Her concern deepened when Crystal's teenage daughter also said she hadn't been able to reach her mother, and that it was completely unlike her to be out of contact for that long. Crystal was someone who checked in regularly. Silence from her was alarming. Sherry decided to report her daughter missing and headed toward the police station. On her way, she ran into Brooks and asked if he had seen Crystal. His response was unsettling. He claimed that she had left their home sometime during the night and had not returned. There was no explanation, no urgency in his voice. To Sherry, it didn't make sense. Crystal would never willingly leave her children behind. That same day, another strange and tragic clue emerged. Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, was driving along the Bluegrass Parkway when he noticed a red Chevrolet Impala with a flat tire parked on the side of the road near mile marker 14. He recognized the vehicle instantly. It belonged to Crystal. Tommy pulled over and contacted authorities. The car was unlocked. Inside were Crystal's purse, her phone, and the keys, still in the ignition, but there was no sign of Crystal anywhere. To those who knew her, the circumstances immediately raised red flags. Leaving her belongings behind, especially her phone, was completely out of character. If she had truly walked away on her own, why would she have left everything behind? And why hadn't she contacted anyone since? As the days passed, the case gained more attention. The police began looking into those closest to Crystal, and naturally, suspicion turned to Brooks. After all, he was the last person known to have seen her. On the 8th of July, Brooks was brought in for questioning by Detective John Snow. During the interview, Brooks remained calm, but offered few useful details. He maintained that Crystal had left during the night, and that he had no idea where she had gone. He also made it clear that he didn't believe anything suspicious had happened to her. But others weren't so convinced. Brooks's demeanor struck many as distant. He showed little emotion during the early days of the investigation. Meanwhile, Crystal's family organized searches, handed out flyers, and pleaded for information. They were desperate for answers, but each passing day brought none. As the investigation progressed, more unusual elements began to surface. One of the most startling developments came when Brooks's brother, Nick Houck, who was a police officer at the time, was interviewed by the authorities. Nick reportedly warned Brooks not to speak with investigators and refused to cooperate fully during his own questioning. Eventually, he was dismissed from the police force due to his lack of cooperation. Despite mounting suspicions and growing community pressure, there was still no sign of Crystal. Her case became one of the highest-profile missing persons cases in Kentucky, yet months and years went by with no major breakthroughs. The emotional weight of the mystery took a deep toll on the Ballard family. Tragically, in November of 2016, Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, was involved in a deeply unsettling incident. While preparing for a hunting trip with his grandson, he was fatally struck by a projectile under suspicious circumstances. Though authorities have not officially linked his passing to Crystal's case, many in the community believe the two events are connected. Tommy had been Crystal's strongest advocate, relentlessly searching for answers. His loss only deepened the sorrow surrounding the case. As years passed, small updates emerged, new searches, new tips, and continued interest from national media outlets. Crystal's mother, Sherry, remained at the forefront of these efforts, determined not to let her daughter's story fade. She remained hopeful that one day the truth would come to light. In recent years, new developments have continued to keep the case in public focus, including law enforcement searching properties and issuing new statements about ongoing investigations. While no one has been officially charged in connection with Crystal's disappearance, the case remains active. It continues to be investigated by multiple agencies, including the FBI. The mystery of what happened to Crystal Rogers has never been fully explained. Her disappearance remains one of Kentucky's most disturbing cold cases. It is a story of love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of justice by a grieving family. For Bardstown, it is a wound that has not yet healed, and for the many who followed her story, Crystal remains more than a case. She is a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of never giving up on the search for truth. In the quiet spaces of Bardstown, the memory of Crystal Rogers lives on. Her face remains on billboards, her name spoken in whispers and in prayer. Until the day comes when answers are finally found, the mystery of Crystal Rogers continues to echo through the Kentucky hills, a question still waiting for resolution. The mysterious case of Robert Levinson. The mysterious disappearance of Robert Levinson remains one of the most perplexing cases in modern international history. Born in Flushing, New York, in the year 1948, Levinson dedicated nearly 3 decades of his life to public service. He first served as an agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration and later joined the Federal Bureau of Investigation, where he spent the bulk of his career. After retiring in 1998, he transitioned into private investigation work. It was during one of these assignments that he vanished, on a trip to Kish Island, Iran, in March of 2007. Since that day, neither his family nor any confirmed source has been able to determine exactly what became of him. Kish Island, a resort destination under Iranian jurisdiction, allows visa-free access to citizens of several countries, including the United States. The island was developed as a commercial hub to attract international investment and tourism, but it has also carried a reputation as a center for illicit trade and underground dealings. Officially, Levinson had claimed that his trip to Kish was related to a cigarette smuggling investigation. However, it was later revealed that he was conducting unofficial intelligence work on behalf of the Central Intelligence Agency, despite being a retired agent. The individual Levinson was reportedly meeting was Dawood Salahuddin, an American citizen who had converted to Islam and defected to Iran after committing a politically motivated assassination in the United States. Salahuddin, living openly in Iran, had suggested that he might be willing to provide information of interest to American intelligence. Levinson met him at the Hotel Mariam on Kish Island. According to Salahuddin, the two were arrested shortly after their meeting. Salahuddin claims he was released the following day, while Levinson was not. 3 weeks later, Iranian state media briefly reported that Levinson had been taken into custody and would soon be released, but that release never occurred. The fact that Levinson may have been detained by Iranian authorities is not, in itself, especially shocking. What has made the case so baffling is the years of denial that followed. Despite the press TV report and statements made by Salahuddin, the Iranian government has continued to claim no knowledge of Levinson's whereabouts. On multiple occasions, Iranian officials have expressed a willingness to cooperate in locating him, but such efforts have yielded no results. The contradiction between the early reports and the subsequent denials has cast a long shadow of uncertainty over the case. Adding to the mystery, in late 2010, Levinson's family received a video showing him alive but in visibly declining health. Several months later, they received a set of photographs in which he appeared unshaven, gaunt, and holding signs written in English. These messages hinted at captivity and seemed to be aimed at prompting action from the United States government. However, the emails containing the video and images were sent from untraceable addresses, and their origin remains unknown. The Iranian government has denied any involvement in the creation or distribution of these materials. Curiously, the original message also demanded the release of a list of prisoners whose names did not match any known detainees, further deepening the confusion. Despite these developments, Levinson's case remained in legal and political limbo for over a decade. In 2020, a federal court in the United States officially declared Robert Levinson deceased in absentia. At the same time, his family was awarded $1.4 billion in damages to be paid from frozen Iranian assets. Years earlier, the Central Intelligence Agency had already paid his family $2.5 million in exchange for halting a potential lawsuit related to Levinson's covert assignment. Nevertheless, the legal conclusion did not bring closure. The United States Department of State continues to offer a reward of $20 million for information leading to the resolution of Levinson's case. President Trump, while still in office in 2020, publicly demanded answers from Iran. In recent developments, on the 21st of June, 2025, Levinson's children appeared in the media once more, asking for renewed efforts and calling upon President Trump to support a deeper investigation. In the years since Levinson's disappearance, several other American citizens held in Iran have been released through negotiations, including Siamak Namazi, Imad Shaghi, and Morad Tabaz. These cases suggest that diplomatic channels can lead to successful outcomes. However, Iran has continued to deny any responsibility for Levinson, maintaining that it had no role in his detention or subsequent disappearance. The mystery of Robert Levinson's case is compounded by the involvement of Salahuddin. For over 4 decades, Salahuddin has remained a fugitive in the eyes of American law enforcement. Living freely in Tehran, he has maintained a public profile as an English teacher, television editor, and writer. He has repeatedly acknowledged his past, even defending his controversial actions. Yet his unique role in the Levinson case, being the last known person to meet him and claiming to have been arrested with him, adds a complex layer to the already murky story. As United States-Iran relations continue to fluctuate, the fate of Robert Levinson remains a point of concern, not only for his family, but also as a symbol of unresolved tensions between the two nations. His story raises difficult questions about covert operations, international diplomacy, and the limits of accountability in an increasingly complicated world. Whether the full truth of what happened to Robert Levinson will ever be known is uncertain, but the persistence of his family, the ongoing public interest, and the unanswered questions ensure that his name will not be forgotten. The unsolved case of Jennifer Kesse. In January of 2006, 24-year-old Jennifer Kesse vanished without a trace from her Orlando, Florida condominium. What began as a routine morning quickly turned into a nightmare that has left her family, friends, and an entire community searching for answers nearly 2 decades later. Over the years, Jennifer's disappearance has become one of the most baffling and emotionally charged unsolved cases in the state of Florida. Jennifer was known by her loved ones as a responsible, hard-working, and loving young woman. At the time of her disappearance, she was living independently in her newly purchased condo at the Mosaic at Millenia Complex in Orlando. She had recently been promoted at her job as a finance manager at a timeshare company located in nearby Ocoee. With a bright future ahead of her, Jennifer was someone who seemed to have everything going for her: an active social life, a supportive family, and a promising career. Just days before she went missing, Jennifer had returned from a relaxing vacation in the Virgin Islands with her boyfriend. On Sunday, the 22nd of January, she stayed overnight at his residence before heading straight to work the next morning. According to co-workers and friends, Jennifer was in good spirits on Monday, the 23rd of January. She worked her full day, leaving the office at approximately 6 in the evening. She spoke to her father shortly after that and had her final phone conversation around 10 o'clock that night with her boyfriend. Nothing in those conversations suggested that anything was out of the ordinary. But by the morning of Tuesday, the 24th of January, everything changed. Jennifer failed to show up at work, which was extremely unlike her. Her absence raised immediate concern among co-workers, prompting her employer to reach out to her family. After several failed attempts to reach her by phone, Jennifer's parents, Joyce and Drew Kesse, made the 2-hour drive from Tampa to Orlando. When they arrived at her condo, they found no sign of Jennifer. What they did find was unsettling. Jennifer's clothes were laid out for work, a wet towel was hanging in the bathroom, and her makeup and hair tools appeared to have been used. It looked as though she had gotten ready for the day as usual, but had never made it out the door. Her car was missing, as were her purse, cell phone, and keys. Jennifer's boyfriend also confirmed that she had not contacted him that morning, which was unusual since she typically sent a text or made a brief call before work. The Kesse family immediately contacted the Orlando Police Department, and within hours, a missing person investigation was launched. The initial findings at her condo offered no evidence of a struggle or forced entry. Everything was intact, and there was no sign of disarray or distress. However, the absence of her car, phone, and keys suggested that she had either left willingly or been lured out under false pretenses. In the following days, the case intensified. On Thursday, the 26th of January, a major breakthrough occurred. Jennifer's black two-door Chevrolet Malibu was discovered abandoned at another apartment complex located about 1 mile from her residence. Hope surged briefly that the car might offer new evidence. Surveillance cameras at the complex captured someone parking Jennifer's vehicle and walking away. However, what should have been a pivotal lead turned into another dead end. The security footage was grainy, and unfortunately, the individual's face was obscured in each frame by the bars of a decorative gate. Despite the widespread sharing of the video, the person's identity remains unknown to this day. Forensic teams thoroughly examined the car for fingerprints and DNA, but it appeared to have been wiped clean. The driver's seat was pushed far back, suggesting someone taller than Jennifer had last driven it. Still, this detail, like many others in the case, led to more questions than answers. As detectives worked tirelessly to uncover the truth, Jennifer's family began pursuing their own lines of inquiry. They discovered that the condominium complex where Jennifer lived had been undergoing renovations, with construction workers and contractors frequently present. Jennifer had confided to her parents and close friends that she felt uneasy around some of the men who worked there. She mentioned being whistled at and receiving unwanted attention, but she never thought it would lead to anything serious. This detail added a deeply troubling angle to the investigation. The construction workers, many of whom were undocumented and had moved between job sites, became a focus for detectives, but tracking them down and conducting formal interviews proved difficult, and no direct link between any of them and Jennifer's disappearance was ever found. Detectives also explored other leads. Jennifer had recently turned down romantic advances from a supervisor, and an ex-boyfriend had tried to reconnect, but both men were eventually ruled out as suspects. There were no confirmed eyewitnesses, no direct sightings, and no activity on Jennifer's phone or bank accounts after the night of her last known communication. One theory proposed that Jennifer may have been intercepted on her way to her car that morning. The time between when she would have left her apartment and when she was expected to arrive at work offered a short but critical window. Yet, without surveillance footage from the Mosaic complex, it was impossible to know exactly when or how she disappeared. As time went on, the case continued to stall. Jennifer's family, heartbroken but relentless, worked to keep her story in the public eye. They appeared on national news programs, held awareness events, and created a website and foundation in Jennifer's name. Their commitment to finding answers never wavered. Frustrated by the slow progress of the official investigation, the Kessie family hired private investigators to pursue alternate leads. Over the years, they also pushed for more transparency from law enforcement and fought legal battles to obtain access to Jennifer's case files. Their hope was that with more eyes on the information, new insights or forgotten clues might emerge. In 2018, Jennifer's case gained renewed attention when her family took over control of the case file and turned it over to a team of private investigators. The move reignited public interest, but even with fresh eyes on the documents, no significant new developments came to light. In May 2008, the Florida House of Representatives passed a bill named in honor of Jennifer Kessie and another missing woman, Tiffany Sessions. The bill sought to modernize the procedures surrounding missing persons cases in the state, helping to ensure that future cases might be solved more quickly and efficiently. Today, the disappearance of Jennifer Kessie remains unsolved. Nearly 20 years have passed since the morning she seemingly vanished into thin air. Yet her family continues to fight for answers and justice. They remain steadfast in their belief that someone, somewhere, knows what happened, and that one day, the truth will come to light. Jennifer Kessie's story is more than just a mystery. It's a reminder of the deep love of a family, the resilience of the human spirit, and the importance of never giving up hope. Her legacy continues to inspire awareness for other missing persons and has become a symbol for families who are still searching for their loved ones. Though time moves forward, Jennifer's presence remains etched in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. Until the day comes when answers finally emerge, the mystery of her disappearance remains a powerful call to keep looking, to keep asking, and to never stop believing that resolution is possible. The Grand Canyon, a breathtaking chasm carved over millions of years by the relentless force of the Colorado River, stands as one of the most iconic and mesmerizing natural wonders on Earth. Its majestic landscapes and awe-inspiring vistas have captured the imaginations of millions, drawing visitors from around the world. Yet, beneath its rugged facade, this geological marvel harbors a multitude of mysteries that continue to intrigue and baffle scientists, explorers, and adventurers alike. From enigmatic caves and unexplained disappearances to ancient geological secrets and elusive creatures, the Grand Canyon conceals a world of unanswered questions and uncharted territories that beckon us to explore and uncover its enduring secrets. A NASA employee went missing in the Grand Canyon. Every year, an alarming number of individuals, exceeding 250,000, are reported missing. However, this figure merely scratches the surface, as it is estimated that the actual number of unreported missing persons cases skyrockets to over 300,000 annually. With such an overwhelming volume of reports, it comes as no surprise that a significant majority of these cases remain unresolved. Nevertheless, amidst this sea of mysteries, there are certain clusters of missing persons cases that possess an uncanny air of peculiarity, capturing the attention of people and giving rise to inexplicable theories. These enigmatic occurrences, collectively known as the Missing 411, revolve around the unexplained disappearances of individuals within the vast expanses of national parks. Oddly enough, it is believed that many of these Missing 411 cases are not thoroughly investigated, leading some to speculate that a sinister supernatural or paranormal cover-up is at play within these untouched landscapes. Back on the 17th of June 2016, a man by the name of Floyd Roberts III had gone on a hiking trip with a longtime friend of his, Ned Bryant, and his friend's daughter, Madeline Bryant. However, after several hours of hiking together, Floyd suddenly disappeared from the group. As the weeks went on, and the investigation into the matter was never resolved, many began to wonder what exactly happened to Floyd Roberts within the very short span of time that he had wandered away from his group. According to Ned Bryant, he and Floyd had been lifelong friends since they were 10 years old, when they first met each other back in Princeton, New Jersey. Their friendship was so close that many would often think that Ned and Floyd were actually brothers. Their friendship would even coalesce and maintain throughout their entire lives, with Floyd Roberts serving as Ned's best man during his wedding several years prior. Unfortunately, due to work requirements and job opportunities, the two men were unable to live close to each other, with Floyd Roberts eventually moving out to the city of Huntsville, Alabama, where he spent a short period of time working as a software engineer for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. After a short time of working for NASA, Floyd Roberts moved once more to work as a computer programming and game design teacher at Middleton High School, located in Treasure Island, Florida. However, throughout this time, Floyd and Ned decided to stay close friends and would meet up regularly to do an activity together. It was back in 1992 when Floyd and Ned decided that they would start hiking around the Grand Canyon a few times a year, as it would be a fun activity for them to both do that would also allow them to take a break from their lives momentarily and get some much-needed exercise. These routine hiking trips would continue for over the next 20 years together, where the two men became highly experienced campers and hikers, familiar with the Grand Canyon as it was their only hiking route. Even more interesting, the two men were so interested in hiking that they would often travel alone in their free time whenever the other was unable to join, showing that both men had experience navigating the known pathways of the area even when isolated and on their own. Several years later, Ned Bryant and a few other members of his family became board members of the Grand Canyon Hikers and Backpackers Association, often sharing tips with each other on the best pathways and means of travel throughout the area, and having been trained in travel safety when hiking through isolated parts of the Grand Canyon. Confident that the two would be perfectly safe during their journey, the men planned to take one of their longest hiking and camping trips yet, choosing to spend 9 days hiking through the Shivwitz Plateau, a pathway that would lead them out of the area through the Separation Canyon. Although the region was a typically less popular area to travel through, their decided route was considered to have been largely very safe, without any major pitfalls or ravines close to their trails. Additionally, the two men decided that the beginning of the journey would be the most relaxed, and planned on spending the first couple of days camping alongside the major river in the area before making their way out of the canyon. After careful consideration, the two men planned their trip and decided that their hike would end after 9 days on the 26th of June, 2016. At the last minute, Ned's daughter, Madeline Bryant, decided to join the group. And so the group decided that the easiest path down towards the river they had wanted to camp beside for a few days was to first reach the Grand Canyon Parashunt National Monument when entering from the furthest western portion of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon Parashunt National Monument is considered to be a remote location and terribly underdeveloped given the lack of tourists that tend to visit the area. According to official park services, there are no known paved roads or laid-out trails leading to the national monument and no visitor services of any kind. Regardless, the group decided the open area and the lack of tourists would be a perfect staging ground to enter towards the river without the stress of strangers crowding around the area. Once the group was several miles away from the main trailhead of the area, the three travelers found themselves traveling over a large hill. Given Floyd Roberts' preference for a longer traveling time to help take in the scenery, he decided that he would take the slow rounding trail that followed the contours of the hill to reach the trailhead, whereas Madeline and Ned decided that a straight path over the hill would allow them to reach the trailhead faster and give them time to relax and take a quick rest. At around 4:45 in the afternoon, the group separated, with Ned and his daughter taking a straight-line path and Floyd Roberts following the trail that wrapped around the side of the hill. Several minutes later, Ned and Madeline would reach the trailhead and decide to take a short rest, waiting for Floyd Roberts to catch up to them. However, after about 20 minutes of waiting, the two started to worry that something had happened and immediately began retracing their steps to look for Floyd Roberts, who they assumed must have gotten lost somewhere along the contouring path. After spending several hours looking for Floyd Roberts, the two decided that it was too dark and dangerous for them to continue their search, and so made a campsite near the trailhead meeting spot in the hopes that Floyd Roberts would be able to locate them by their fire. Unfortunately, the two said that it appeared as if Floyd had just completely disappeared, and so Ned and Madeline hiked their way to the nearest area with cell phone reception to report Floyd Roberts as missing. The two reported Floyd Roberts' disappearance at around 3 in the afternoon on Saturday, June 18th. Almost immediately, a team of search and rescue working for the national park started their search for Floyd Roberts, covering a 10-mile radius of where he had last been seen by Ned Bryant and his daughter. The search and rescue originally showed up for the search efforts in high spirits, believing that Roberts would have been recovered quickly, given the fact that the weather in the area did not drop anywhere near freezing temperatures and stayed relatively high throughout the day and night. Additionally, Floyd Roberts had been carrying a week's supply of food and over 2 gallons of water in his backpack at the time of his disappearance, so it was believed that he would have more than enough supplies and years of experience to help him navigate his way towards help, if necessary. Over the next few days, an estimated 15 people were involved with the search and rescue of Floyd Roberts, with a team of sniffer dogs used to follow his scent. It was at around this time that a set of footprints had been discovered that followed down the direction of the trail that Ned and his daughter Madeline had claimed Floyd was last seen traveling down. As the dogs followed the trail, it appeared as if they had locked onto the scent of Roberts and continued in the direction of the footprints for several hundred feet before they suddenly stopped. Search and rescuers then noticed that the footprints of Floyd Roberts seemed to have suddenly disappeared, as if Roberts had been walking and then rose into the air and vanished. It was at this point that the National Park Service rescue helicopter was used to get aerial views of the surrounding 10-mile radius, but were unable to locate any signs of someone having fallen down any side paths or in any known areas. After 6 days of frantic searching and thousands of man-hours, the search and rescue for Floyd Roberts slowed down to a passive search. To this day, no sign of Roberts has been recovered, and his whereabouts remains a mystery. Mysterious lights. Nestled deep within the expansive and awe-inspiring beauty that is the Grand Canyon lies a phenomenon that continues to perplex and mesmerize those who dare to explore its depths: the enigmatic phantom lights. Often referred to as ghost lights or spook lights, these mysterious luminous anomalies have been witnessed and documented by a multitude of visitors, park rangers, and dedicated researchers. Their ethereal presence adds an extra layer of intrigue and enchantment to the already captivating marvels of the canyon. The presence of phantom lights in the Grand Canyon is not a recent phenomenon. In fact, it can be traced back to more than a century ago, as evidenced by the documented reports of early explorers and settlers. These historical accounts contribute significantly to the mystique surrounding this intriguing occurrence since they precede the era of advanced scientific inquiry and technological advancements that could potentially offer more precise explanations. Since the early days of the Grand Canyon's exploration, there have been numerous reports of inexplicable lights that appear and disappear within the depths of the canyon. During the early days, when brave explorers bravely ventured through the challenging and rough landscape of the canyon, they repeatedly shared their remarkable encounters with peculiar and radiant orbs, as well as flickering lights that gracefully danced along the ancient walls and towering ridges, especially during the profound darkness of night. These captivating and mystical displays never failed to evoke a range of emotions within the witnesses, encompassing a mixture of admiration, trepidation, and fascination. The impact of these ethereal illuminations left an indelible mark on the memories of those fortunate enough to behold such awe-inspiring spectacles. Phantom lights within the vast expanse of the Grand Canyon possess an intriguing and mysterious nature that captivates all those who witness them. People who have observed these phenomena consistently report a set of distinctive attributes that define their ethereal essence. Among the various paranormal phenomena often witnessed in the depths of the canyon, the appearance of ghostly orbs of light holds a prominent place. These ethereal spheres, seemingly weightless and untethered, have been widely reported by many individuals. These luminescent spheres emanate a gentle and ethereal luminosity, creating a striking juxtaposition against the encompassing obscurity. An additional frequently observed phenomenon encompasses abrupt and mysterious eruptions of highly luminous flashes that seemingly manifest without any discernible cause. These flashes, though ephemeral, possess an extraordinary intensity, momentarily illuminating the vertical cliffs of the canyon. Their origin remains enigmatic, shrouded in ambiguity and intrigue, adding to the mystique of this captivating natural wonder. Some individuals who have witnessed these mysterious lights have provided accounts of them resembling flickering flames or lanterns. What is particularly intriguing is the way in which these lights seem to move with intention, as if being guided by an unseen force with intelligence. The breathtaking display of the phantom lights captivates the onlookers with its mesmerizing variety of colors, ranging from dazzling shades of white and blue to intriguing hues of green and unsettling tones of red. The wide spectrum of colors enhances the enchantment and enigma surrounding these ethereal lights. One aspect of the mysterious lights that baffles observers is their seemingly intelligent behavior and deliberate mobility. According to eyewitness accounts, these lights often follow distinct paths or trajectories, challenging conventional interpretations of natural occurrences. It is intriguing to note that these lights demonstrate a degree of purpose and intention in their movement, defying our understanding of how they are able to do this. Before delving into the specifics of mysterious sightings at the Grand Canyon, it is essential to establish the existence of unidentified objects as a real and genuine phenomena. Unidentified flying objects are typically described as aerial anomalies that defy conventional explanation, and these objects have been reported by credible witnesses ranging from pilots and military personnel to ordinary citizens. The sheer volume of sightings, along with corroborating radar data and credible testimonies, suggests that UFOs cannot be easily dismissed as mere delusions or hoaxes. The Grand Canyon, known for its vast and challenging landscape, provides the perfect backdrop for UFO phenomena to occur without garnering much attention from the public. Although sightings have been reported in various parts of the globe, the Grand Canyon stands out due to the remarkable consistency and credibility of these accounts. This expansive natural wonder, with its remote and rugged terrain, becomes a hidden playground for unidentified flying objects. The secluded nature of the canyon allows for UFO activity to go unnoticed or undetected by the general population, contributing to the mystique surrounding this phenomenon. One of the most intriguing and captivating instances of UFO sightings in the majestic Grand Canyon transpired during the balmy summer of 1953. Amidst their intrepid expedition into the inner recesses of the canyon, a group of avid hikers were astounded as they bore witness to a mesmerizing display of luminous, saucer-shaped objects suspended in the air just above the formidable canyon walls. Their testimonies, meticulously detailed and steadfastly consistent, painted a vivid picture of the otherworldly spectacle they encountered. The celestial vessels seemed to maneuver with unparalleled coordination, defying the very laws of physics that govern our understanding of the universe. Adding to the weight of these remarkable accounts, park rangers stationed in the vicinity corroborated the hikers' stories, lending substantial credibility to these extraordinary sightings. Such a profound occurrence continues to fascinate and captivate the minds of those who delve into the realm of unexplained phenomena. One of the most captivating and thought-provoking aspects surrounding UFO sightings at the Grand Canyon revolves around the active participation of the military. Extensive documentation confirms the United States military's deep fascination with UFO phenomena, and their presence within the confines of the Grand Canyon only adds layers of intrigue and mystique to the phenomenon. Numerous first-hand accounts and reports allude to military aircraft being deployed to intercept and thoroughly investigate unidentified flying objects observed in the vicinity of the canyon. These encounters have yielded perplexing and unexplained occurrences, including instances of electromagnetic disruption and temporary loss of communication between the military aircraft and their base. The involvement of the military in such incidents only serves to intensify the enigma surrounding UFO sightings at the Grand Canyon. In the year 1967, a highly publicized event took place near the majestic Grand Canyon involving a military aircraft and an unidentified flying object, widely known as a UFO. The experienced pilot of the military jet reported an astonishing encounter with the mysterious object, describing its extraordinary maneuverability and unparalleled speed. Despite the pilot's relentless pursuit, the elusive object managed to outwit its captors, disappearing into the vast expanse of the sky. This captivating incident, along with numerous similar occurrences, lends substantial support to the notion that there is undoubtedly something truly remarkable unraveling in the airspace above the Grand Canyon. The incident that unfolded more than 5 decades ago continues to intrigue and confound not only the pilot, but also his superiors and the scientific community as a whole. Such unexplained encounters serve as compelling evidence, offering credibility and resonance to the hypothesis that unknown phenomena are transpiring within the depths of the Grand Canyon's airspace. UFO sightings at the Grand Canyon have piqued the curiosity of not just the military and eyewitnesses, but also a number of esteemed scientists. While some scientists remain skeptical, there is a growing contingent that believes the evidence surrounding these phenomena cannot be ignored. They advocate for a scientific examination of sightings in order to unravel their origins and better understand their nature. In the past few years, there has been an emergence of a fascinating idea among researchers to conduct controlled experiments and observations within the stunning landscape of the Grand Canyon. The purpose behind these endeavors is twofold: to capture potential UFO activity on camera and to gather irrefutable scientific data. The intentions are clear: to shed light on the perplexing phenomena that have perplexed and intrigued countless individuals throughout the course of history. Although the scientific community remains divided when it comes to the validity of UFO sightings, the Grand Canyon presents a truly unparalleled opportunity for further exploration and investigation. One of the most captivating and fascinating concepts associated with the observation of unidentified flying objects within the confines of the magnificent Grand Canyon is the notion that these peculiar aerial phenomena might originate from beings hailing from distant galaxies. Although this hypothesis may initially appear implausible or even fantastical to certain individuals, it is imperative to acknowledge that it should not be hastily disregarded. The vast expanse of the universe, coupled with the potential existence of other intelligent civilizations, renders the idea of extraterrestrial visitations a viable and logical explanation for certain UFO sightings witnessed within this awe-inspiring natural wonder. If we consider the possibility of extraterrestrial beings, the secluded and isolated nature of the Grand Canyon adds to its appeal as an alluring destination for interstellar travelers. The canyon's unforgiving and rugged landscape not only offers a natural camouflage for their activities, but also conceals their presence from prying eyes. Additionally, the sheer magnificence of its awe-inspiring vistas may possess some intrinsic cosmic significance that attracts these celestial visitors. It is plausible to speculate that these otherworldly beings could be engrossed in the study of Earth's intricate geological history, using the Grand Canyon as a living laboratory to unravel the mysteries of our planet's evolution. Undoubtedly, the sightings that occur above the iconic Grand Canyon evoke immense fascination and bewilderment, making them an enigmatic phenomenon that cannot be easily dismissed. The substantial number of credible eyewitness accounts, involvement of military personnel, scientific curiosity, and the intriguing possibility of encounters with extraterrestrial beings all contribute to the captivating mystique that surrounds these events. While skeptics may persist in questioning the authenticity of such UFO sightings, it is imperative to approach this subject matter with an open and receptive mindset, venturing into unexplored realms of our world and the vast cosmos beyond. The Grand Canyon, with its incomparable natural splendor, remains an epicenter for those eager to delve into the cosmic enigmas that hover above its majestic cliffs, ceaselessly yearning to comprehend the unknown. The tour guide that vanished. 22-year-old Morgan Elias Heimer, employed as a commercial guide by Tour West, a reputable rafting company, found himself in an unexpected situation during a harrowing 8-day expedition along the majestic Colorado River. On the 6th day of the arduous journey, fate took a bewildering turn when Heimer mysteriously vanished without a trace, leaving his fellow travelers and colleagues astonished and deeply concerned for his safety. Morgan Heimer, originally hailing from the picturesque town of Cody in Wyoming, embarked on an educational journey at the esteemed University of Wyoming, where he fervently pursued a degree in English. With a wealth of experience in navigating the great outdoors and possessing an unparalleled expertise as a river guide. On the afternoon of Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015, at around 4 in the afternoon, Morgan was sighted in the vicinity of River Mile 213, specifically near Pumpkin Springs, within the breathtaking expanse of Grand Canyon National Park. It was the last known sighting of Morgan in this area. During their conversation, Heimer mentioned to the lead guide that he needed some time off that afternoon. The lead guide, briefly detaching himself from the cliff where they were stationed, stepped away to attend to a client. Upon his return, however, the lead guide was taken aback to find that Heimer had vanished without a trace. Initially assuming that Heimer had decided to take a break, the guide awaited his return. Unfortunately, Heimer never reappeared, leaving everyone puzzled and concerned about his sudden disappearance. The individual was officially reported as missing at 7:26 in the evening on the same day by a member of the river trip. The report was made following a group swimming activity in the river, as the individual did not show up for dinner. According to the available information, at the time of his disappearance, he was wearing a personal flotation device from Astral in a dark color, a long-sleeved shirt with a blue plaid pattern, Chaco flip-flop sandals, a maroon baseball cap, and brightly colored shorts. Additionally, he was carrying a water bottle colored in purple. The concern over his well-being and whereabouts led to the immediate reporting of his disappearance. This incident occurred after the group's river excursion, during which the individual engaged in swimming activities in the river. According to those conducting the search, it was expressed that the individual in question possesses the necessary skills and capabilities to effectively carry out the assigned tasks, and is highly probable to be successfully found. The evaluators were confident in the individual's qualifications and believed that their competencies align with the job requirements. In a determined effort to locate the missing individual, park rangers and search and rescue teams tirelessly scoured the extensive stretch of the river, along with conducting thorough inspections of the surrounding land encompassing Pumpkin Springs. Recognizing the need to widen their search, they expanded their efforts to include Diamond Creek, located approximately 12 miles west of Pumpkin Springs. To gather any potential leads, interviews were conducted with fellow employees of the Tour West Guide Service, clients who had embarked on the same river trip, as well as representatives from other river outfitters and their clients. Despite these exhaustive endeavors, no trace of the missing individual was found.